All right, guys. So I did a poll the other day, and this was really strange to me because I do polls every so often, and I ask you guys, like, do you want to see this video? Do you want to see that video? And most of the time, like 90% of the time, you guys want to see videos that mostly have to do with Aquarius, which makes sense because, I am an Aquarius. But every once in a while, you want to see other things. But when it comes to people, that it's not very common. Celebrity gossip, people, stuff like that, not too often. Little something, something, not really. So I was really surprised at this poll because I asked you guys, did you want to hear about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp from an astrological standpoint? And 80% of you, I couldn't believe it. Over 100 people voted, and over 80% wanted to hear about this. And I was like, wow, that's the most that ever wanted to hear about a group of people ever, or two people, or ex-couple, whatever you want to call them, ever. So I spent the weekend listening to the court trial, the expert witnesses, a couple different video commentaries, this, that, and the third, reading up on Taurus and Gemini. And so from an astrological standpoint, I'm now going to tell you all about this particular case. But first, let's do a little bit of business. I am Queen Aset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please, please, please hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it. Also, if you like this video, which I hope you will, please give this video a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who wants to hear this crazy story, okay? Because this is a crazy, crazy story. Please drop us a positive comment in the comment section. And if you would like to get a reading done, if you'd like to become one of my patrons on Patreon, if you would like to get some Ask an Aquarius merchandise, which I have a new t-shirt coming out, which is really cool. If you would like to get, let me see, if you would like to give me a love donation, our channel is always accepting donations, at least for now. When I'm rich one day, I'm not going to accept donations anymore. I'm just going to give them. But for now, we still accept them. We also accept gifts. Gifts are definitely my love language. So let's get into this situation because this is a doozy and I don't know how long this video is going to be. So let's start with the basics. Amber Heard is a Taurus. Johnny Depp is a Gemini, okay? Amber and Johnny were married for a very short time, a little bit over a year. Basically what happened was the two of them did a movie together, and they both were in relationships with other people. So there's both cheating. There's both cheating asses, okay? Amber was with a woman. I think she was a photographer or something. And Johnny was with the woman he had been with for like over a decade. Now, Johnny said that during the one of their scenes together, I think he kissed her or something, and he felt something he said he should not have felt. So I'm guessing that's what, lust, erection, something like that, infatuation. He felt something, and they both started cheating with each other and eventually left the other and got married. Okay? Now, this was one of the worst relationships I've ever heard about. Apparently, they fought and argued constantly. They were having problems before they even got married, which I don't understand why they got married if they were already having problems. I did that before. That's not a good idea. If it's not going smoothly before the marriage, it's not a good chance it's going to go smoothly after the marriage. Some people think that's going to save the relationship, and most times it just makes things worse. So they got married anyway. There was lots of arguments. He said there was anger between them. And I heard some of their arguments, and I'm going to tell you about them later. They were really messed up. And there was drug abuse. Johnny is a chronic drug user, and she uses too, but I don't think it's as chronically as him. and he uses alcohol. I think she drinks too. You know, they both use. But I think with Johnny, he had the diagnosis that said he's a chronic substance abuser. She has a different diagnosis. So anyway, so they're using, you know, I imagine using, having sex, fighting. She moved all her friends, her closest friends, it was like 3 of them, and her sister. So her family and friends are staying in his house with them. And I was like, who does that? Who gets married and moves their friends in? But Johnny was always working, so Amber moved in her friends, I guess, to keep her company, and in the meantime was having sex with James DeFranco, or James Franco, whatever his name is. He testified. She had an affair. She had a threesome, which I was like, oh my. my. She had a threesome with Elon Musk and another woman. And I was like, oh, excuse me? And her roommate testified as to her infidelities. So they said Johnny was really jealous, which, I mean, makes sense. She's having sex in his home while he's not there with multiple people. So I can see why he would be jealous. He was probably intuitively picking up on it. But this was just an awful relationship. It was awful from beginning to end. It was the kind of thing that should have never happened, and then it did happen, and then it just went on too long. So my thing is that the grass isn't always greener. Let this be a lesson to you guys out there. You know, the grass is not always greener. You know, he went to a younger, more beautiful woman, and now look, he's stuck with a psycho. He's stuck with a psycho that caused him, according to him, $50 million. So if you're thinking like these two are thinking, think again, because the grass, like I said, is not always greener. So let's get to the astrological standpoint. So this is the thing. I just mentioned the $50 million. So the divorce has long since been final. This case that we're looking at, we're going to hear the closing arguments for in a few days. This case is a defamation lawsuit. Apparently, after they got divorced, Amber did a news article or magazine article where she talked about being a victim of domestic violence. And what she was saying, she didn't say his name, but she basically alluded to the fact that Johnny had been abusing her. So everybody kind of rallied behind her, you know, and was like, oh my goodness, you know, Johnny, you know, beating on this child, you know. And then it comes out later that maybe she's not telling the truth. So Johnny's suing her because he's saying that those lies that she told cost him $50 million. Every time I see that amount of money, I'm like, see, you should have stayed with that other woman. 50 million? Most of us will never even touch 50 million in our lifetime. So anyway, he's suing her, and if he wins, she has to give him this money. And I think she countersued. And basically what she's saying is that she never lied, that he abused her. And he's saying she's lying because he can prove in all these ways that he was not abusive. So that's what this whole case is about. Now, the other thing I'm going to tell you before I get into the astrology, I'm going to tell you both of their diagnoses because they play on their astrological characteristics. Johnny Depp has been diagnosed with ADHD, depression, and chronic substance abuse. Now, that chronic substance abuse is really where a lot of the gray area comes in at. Amber was diagnosed with what they called histrionic personality disorder. According to this, histrionic personality disorder means a person who's overly theatrical, melodramatic, and may not be able to control intense, unstable emotions, and has a distorted self-image. So basically, she can't control her emotions. And if you can't control your emotions, it's going to be hard to control yourself. So this is going to be a real problem as we're getting ready to see. Likewise, she has borderline personality disorder. And it says this one severely impacts a person's ability to regulate their emotions. So again, we see all this problem with emotional control. It says this loss of emotional control can increase impulsivity. That's all that sex. All that cheating is because she's being impulsive. Because I guarantee if she would think her way through these things, she wouldn't keep on cheating and going from lover to lover. She would see that something is wrong here that needs to be addressed. So it says here it often negatively impacts their relationship with themselves and others. So what does this mean from a zodiac standpoint, and which one of these two is lying? From a zodiac standpoint, let's start with Johnny. Johnny Depp is a Gemini. What we know about Geminis is that Geminis are two different people. They are their own twin, according to the zodiac. So if you know a Gemini, chances are very high that they have two very distinct personalities. When I was in college, I had a Gemini friend, and he was a young man, real immature sometimes, kicking trash cans, fighting with people, yelling across the campus. We had a great time, I must admit, but he was real, teenage boy with it, normal. But sometimes he acted like an old man, like literally, just reading the newspaper, and, he had a lot of old man, which was good. I thought it was a great thing, but it didn't match the other personality. And you never knew which one was coming. And sometimes I would need the old man because I needed somebody that was going to be, serious and on point that day. And the young man would come with the antics. And I'm like, can you get the newspaper out and help me with this project, So when you're dealing with a Gemini, you're going to have those two different people. What does this tell us about Johnny Depp? Well, number one, it tells us that there are two Johnnies. The first Johnny is very sweet. So many fans and people have talked about this Johnny. This is the Johnny that most of us know. This is the Johnny that most of his acquaintances know and people who've worked with him 30 plus years. He has a great reputation in that way. That Johnny is kind. That Johnny actually goes to hospitals dressed as Jack Sparrow just to entertain little kids. That Johnny is a freaking saint, okay? But the other Johnny is a chronic substance abuser, melancholy, mopes around, slamming things. There was a recording between the two of them talking to each other. And it wasn't St. Johnny, boo-boo. I listened to that recording for like 30 minutes. It was not St. Johnny. Now, the thing about it was that Amber had ulterior motives for recording it, though. I mean, if your significant other is going off, snapping, the chances that you're going to record it usually aren't that high. Unless you're thinking to yourself, I might need this in court one day. I might need this evidence for something. There's a reason why you would record something like that. So she's not off the hook. She was being sinister too, but it was what he was doing. He was slamming things. He was yelling. Now, mind you, this was the day after his mother died. So I would kind of expect that from a person, So for me, him slamming things and yelling and things like that, he never hit her on this recording. He didn't even come near her on the recording. He was across the room. So I'm like, okay, that's not really evidence of abuse. That's evidence of an emotional outburst. He might have been drinking. He might have just been depressed. Who knows? But he had an emotional outburst. Who thinks to record your significant other's emotional outbursts? But if you listen to the things that he's saying, he's not being St. Johnny. Now, I'm going to give him that one. I'm going to give it to him because his mother had just died. How many of us are going to be together when our mother just died? So I'm going to give him that one. But it was used against him in court. Then there was another recording on a whole different day. And this again was not St. Johnny. St. Johnny was dogging Amber. I'm going to say they were dogging each other. They were coming at each other in such a nasty way. And I was like, it was sickening and painful to watch. To listen to. It was no video, it was just audio. And it was sickening and it was painful because it was like, I've been in this situation before. I've been with somebody, I was with that, that Cancer entanglement guy once upon a time. And it was like that. We would get into these arguments, and you're, manipulating each other, you're coming at each other, you're talking down to each other. It was nasty. And it was not the kind of situation that I would want to be in. I mean, he's 50 years old. I was in that situation in my 20s. There's no way I would be with somebody like that now. I wouldn't even talk to a person like that now. And like, they were really nasty to each other. They were talking down to each other. He was like, "Oh, Aquaman," like her movie was nothing, And she was like, "Oh, all you did was 21 Jump Street." They were like really nastily coming at each other, putting each other down. And it wasn't one of them, it was both of them. And it was nasty. Okay, it was very, very nasty. So I can see from that St. Johnny's other side is a little nasty, or a lot nasty. Okay, and I don't know if this was him using. They didn't say he was high or drunk at that time. He could have been. I don't know. He could have been perfectly sober and just tired of her shit, because it was very clear to me that they were both very angry and tired of each other at that point. Okay. So we know that the Gemini has another side. We know he has some, issues going on. So that is there. The other thing we know about the Gemini is this. Geminis are really good at making themselves look like they haven't done anything. They're very good at making themselves look like they are the victim when they're not the victim. And in this particular case, I think it makes a lot of sense because, listen, it's a defamation case. He has to prove that she made him look bad unjustly. He has to come up there and look like a Boy Scout, baby, and he has to make it seem like he's a Boy Scout, she's evil, and look what she did to me to get his $50 million, okay? So anything he say, you have to take it with a grain of salt because he has to make himself look good, okay? He has no choice. So I feel like if you take a look at it from that angle, I think that he is not showing the things he did to her. He's making it seem like it was all her. He never did anything to her. It was all her. And that's what I get from that. Now, mind you, does that mean he abused her? I haven't seen any evidence of abuse. I've seen verbal abuse, yeah. I've seen emotional abuse on both of their parts. But I can't say he beat her up because in none of the recordings is she, beat up. And she's been caught in a lot of lies. She said she had this makeup pact. And she told everybody she was using this makeup to cover up bruises from Johnny. Supposedly he bust her lip. He hit her in the face. A whole bunch of other stuff. And I'm just looking like, Amber's not that big, okay? And I've gotten into fights with men, all right? It wasn't pleasant, but I have. Won some, lost some, okay? And I never came out of a fight with a man looking like that. She looked like she wasn't in the fight. Because when you come out of a fight with any person, you look disheveled. She would have been redder. I would have expected a bit. She said he punched her in the face. You mean to tell me you got a little thing and a man punched you in the face? I never had a man punch me in the face, but I have been in fights, and I can't believe you would have a little red scratch here, from somebody punching you. And she said he had rings on. So I'm like, the indentation of his ring. I used to fight with rings on when I was a young girl. The indentation of your ring goes into the person's face. So I think that she's lying about the abuse aspect. So if you ask him, who's lying about the abuse? I think it's her. I think that it was verbal abuse. I think it was emotional abuse on both of their behalves. And I think that she, I mean, like, and it was out of control, the slamming, the yelling. And I guess she was trying to get sympathy because listen to her disorders. The disorders that she has says this is the kind of thing that she might be capable of doing. So first and foremost, that's what I think about that part of it. Now, Amber as the Taurus. Well, Taurus are bulls. So they have a lot of anger. You know, they will charge. I don't know if bulls naturally just have anger, but I've seen them charge people and really fuck them up. Okay, I've seen people that died from that bullfighting stuff. It's not something that you want to do. So in Amber's case, I see a lot of anger in her. And I'm like, okay, well, that could come from that Taurus bull energy, because they showed some clips of her and she was just angry. She was livid. And it wasn't about like anything specific. She was talking about a person and she was like, oh, did my dad punch him? I mean, she was just rowdy. She was rowdy like she from the streets. Like me and Amber can go to the hood and have a drink at the local, the local hole in the wall. She was rowdy like that. And I was just like, Amber? Because the woman that she's presenting on the stand is, oh, Johnny, and then he slapped me, and then my dog got stung by a bee, and she's giving off this energy, and I didn't even see no tears. But I'm like, she's acting. They're both actors, and she's acting on. She deserves an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in a courtroom series for this, okay? She is clearly acting, and not well. Not well at all. So she's on the stand, and and so you can see she's presenting herself just like Johnny. She's presenting one person and hiding the other person. So she's presenting the meek mannered housewife, but the vengeful person I heard on that tape is not being presented in court. On that tape, she was talking mad smack to him about his age, and you're old and you're washed up, and you just did some little stupid show. And I mean, she was coming at his neck. Oh yeah, you did so much for me. She's very condescending, tearing him down. I was just like, wow, she give as good as she gets. She is not a little meek mannered flower, in the corner type person that she's presenting on that stand. She give as good as she gets. Amber is, man, look. I mean, she bout it, put it like that, So that's that Taurus, I think, that bull energy. But also, one thing about Taurus is, another thing that I personally experience with them, is they will lie. And this is not all of them. Remember, every Taurus, every person has a positive and a negative to their zodiac sign. In the negative, Taurus lie. I was in a relationship with one. Her own family did not believe her because she lied so much. And she would lie about stupid stuff. She would make up stories. And Amber, they talked about her disorder. These lies would fall into her disorder. So all of this goes right underneath Taurus and those negative traits. A lot of people tell me the same thing. So do I think she's lying? Heck yeah, she's lying. She's lying about herself, acting like she's this saint. She's lying about the physical abuse. I really don't think it really happened. And actually, I'm wondering if it wasn't her, because there's a video, or there's a recording where she's talking about hitting Johnny. She admits in the recording, I don't know, I think Johnny might have did this recording. I think after a while they were recording each other. And Johnny, I think, took this recording, and Amber was like, I didn't deck you, Johnny. I just slapped you. I didn't punch you. And I'm like, you shouldn't put your hands on him, period. I don't care if you slapped him, spit on him, whatever. None of that is acceptable. You should never put your hands on your significant other. And if you feel like you have to, you need to leave. So I guess eventually they both got that point. But it was like all through this time, it sounded to me like she was slapping him. And then she told him, she teased him. She said, oh yeah, go tell the world Johnny Depp is being, domestically abused. She was taunting him with it, like, who's going to believe you, kind of thing. So I think if anybody was getting hit, it was him. I think she was hitting him, and I think that they were fighting constantly and verbally and emotionally tearing each other down. It was a very, very, very awful relationship that I would hate to be in. And based on both of their diagnosis, I can see how this could happen. Because Johnny, we don't know what happens when Johnny's using. Some people testified and said that he gets very quiet. Yeah, okay, he's quiet, but what about when it's just you? What's that quiet monster thinking and doing? What about when it's just us? See, that's the thing. If you're in a room full of people high, you might not act the same way that you do along with your significant other high. So we really don't know that aspect of it. Um, so, and then of course with her disorders are going to make, not, I'm not going to say they're going to make you behave that way, because I'm sure there's people with those disorders that do not act like Amber. I'm sure, but that particular disorders, the two that she have, they could make her behave in this way. They could make her act like this, wanting to be perceived as the victim, you know, wanting to seem like the one who's, who's being, taken advantage of, and that kind of thing. Because she even lied about the money from the divorce settlement. She said she was going to donate it, and she never did. So again, trying to make herself look good. And she's like, well, I couldn't donate it because Johnny sued me. Yeah, but Johnny sued you months after you got that settlement. There was plenty of time to make that particular donation. Now, me personally, I wouldn't have donated my settlement money. I'd have put that shit in the bank. But since you said that, now you got to go along with that. So that's what happened in that particular case. So when it comes down to Amber versus Johnny, who's lying? They both are. They are both lying like a rug, okay? But between the two of them, Johnny is looking much better. He is looking much better. She looks mean. She looks vindictive. He just looks broken. He looks broken. He looks wounded. He looks like he's trying. He does look like he's trying. He really does. He just looks like he has a ways to go. From what I remember, he's the one psychiatrist or the one therapist said that Johnny came to see him regularly. So hopefully he'll continue that trend. But between the two of them, they're both lying, and they both looked awful, but he is coming up much better. And I also want to say, in the court of public opinion, and this has nothing to do with the zodiac, in the court of public opinion, a lot of people are siding with him because he's Johnny Depp. A lot of us grew up. I grew up. I saw 21 Jump Street when it first aired, not the reruns. When it first aired, I grew up watching Johnny. I've seen him grow from a fresh-faced young boy to the grown man that he is now. I like Johnny, still like Johnny. Don't know Amber and don't really care for her. But the truth is the truth. I gotta tell you guys the truth. And the truth is, both of them are not being 100% truthful. And y'all know, I'm going to tell you, I'm a people from back then. They're not. But I do have a lot of belief that Johnny can get better. I have no belief that Amber will get better, because Amber doesn't even acknowledge that there's a problem. Johnny acknowledges these things about himself. So that's another thing. So I'll give you guys a quick update in the comment section, or probably in the community section after this trial is over. But if something crazy happens, I'll do a follow-up video. Okay? Now let's check out these positive comments. Viral video. Viral video said, Queen, I must say this is my favorite video of yours. I am getting married to a female Aquarius next year. Congratulations. I have noticed all of these things in her, and I'm talking to her about toning these things you mentioned in this video. Much love, and congratulations. Yusef Lopez, what's up, Yusef? Yusef said, the audacity. I love the word audacity, because Aquarius have so much audacity. I'm the kind of Aquarius that'll get pissed off and silently do shit to irk you. For example, if you tell me not to do something after annoying me, I'll just roll on by you doing the direct opposite, like I didn't hear you. Ain't no sense in me being annoyed by my damn self. So you annoy me, I'm going to annoy you. Yeah, I totally get it. So tell me, have you followed this case with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? And do you have anything to add? Because I don't care if you agree with me. I don't care if you don't, that's fine. You know, you're entitled to your opinion, but let us know in the comment section what you think and why. Okay? All right, guys, you come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.